like my students to be able to look at the blog before they come to the lecture and read it. And they go, wow, why would I have to do that? Either I'm with Stacey all day Tuesday, or I'm... Where are you on a Tuesday, 3D designers? You don't have lectures on a Tuesday, so that's great. So that means you've got all that time to spend half an hour looking at what's going to happen tomorrow. Yes? Oh no, because I've got so much other work to do. Yeah. Do you laugh? You say, well, why would I ever want to look at what something's going to happen? In one way, as you go on in your career at the university, you'll find the more you look ahead at what's going to happen, the easier it will be for you to do those things. If you're always reacting to what's happened, you're going to find it always very difficult. So, I'm filming it.
Yeah.
So, do have a look at the links that I've done. They're there for you, they're not there for me. So, for instance, you've got a fantastic 100+ years of manifestos there. So, go through the very famous one called First Things First, for instance, which is a manifesto about graphic design in I think it was firstly done in the 1960s, and then redone in the year 2000. Anybody heard of this? It's a very famous graphic design manifesto. So have a look at it. How is that written? Yeah? There's all those ones there. So I am expecting you, as university students, to have a quick look at all of them. I'm not asking you to go and read every single one of them in detail. I'm asking you to actually go down and thinking, let's have a look at those things. Let's have a look at one that perhaps interests me. This is not a manifesto. What does that say? Yeah. I think I've given you a link to that one. Okay, so they started with a quote. So those manifestos are there for you and also there for you to help you. All right, let's move on. I've given you a series of links. The Futurist Manifesto is a very famous manifesto which will give you this idea of the passion that artists and designers believe in their work. Yeah? So please have a look at them. Some of them have got sound to them. Okay, I'm going to now show you, and I'm going to turn the lights off, a very, very famous speech. Because although it's not written down, it's a piece of sound, a piece of talking. You've probably all heard of it, if not actually heard it. And it basically is, I think it's 1963, and it's a manifesto about what was happening at that time in America. It's a very famous, possibly, in one way in our generation, one of the most famous pieces of rhetoric sound that you've ever seen. Okay, so I'm going to play this for you.
One day, this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream. My poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted. Every hill and mountain shall be made low, the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the word of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together.
We will keep his dream alive. MixedNation.com. Join.
Okay, so who's heard that speech before?
Hell yeah.
So who hasn't heard that speech before? has not. Yeah, okay. The sound wasn't particularly good. When it was on my laptop, actually, it was much better. You got the sort of the tone better. You can see the whole speech on YouTube. There's also an audio clip of it, which I think I've got you down there. There's also a subtitled version of it. And I think audio might be better. That's stuck. I have a dream that one day we will have not Internet Explorer 7 or 8 in this lecture theatre, and we'll have a browser that makes things happen properly, not that takes hours and hours to do it. That's my dream. But one day it'll happen. When we move to the new building, there is an audio link here of the whole speech. Obviously, it's been filmed and it's a very famous film. So what Dr. Martin Luther King does in 1963 is a call, in a sense, for justice. That wasn't happening there. So it's a very important bit in our 20th century history. It's something that we should all look at. But also, we should look at it in terms of how has he got his message across? It's a very important message at that time. Okay. I'm going to show you a short clip, if I can find it, from somebody who's going to talk about the secret of great talks. And in this talk, she talks about how you can change the world with a talk. Now, I think you had someone in this room 2 weeks ago, it was 2 weeks ago, who's trying to do that through her living architecture. And she stood here, and she stands around the world giving talks. You know who that was? Rachel Armstrong, yeah? So she stood here and passionately said, we can't go on the way we're going on, and we can't just say everything should be green and lovely and pretty. We need to change it radically. So we had someone here who was impassioned, and her manifesto is in her books, in her Twitter feeds, in her ideas. Yeah? So I'm just going to quickly try and find the bit in here. I'll play it from here.
Today, I want to start with the very two people that I used when I first did. Here's Mr. Jobs. Completely has changed the world. Changed the world of personal computing. He's changed the music industry. Now he's on his way to change the mobile device industry. So he's definitely changed the world. And this is the shape of his iPhone launch, 2007, when he launched his iPhone. It's a 90-minute talk. And you can see he starts with what is, traverses back and forth, and ends with what could be. So I want to zoom in on this. The white line is him speaking. He's talking. The next color line you'll see popped up there, that's when he cuts to video. So he's adding some variety, and he cuts to demo. So it's not just him talking the whole time. And these lines are representative there. And then towards the end, you'll see a blue line, which will be the guest speaker. So this is where it gets kind of interesting. Every tick mark here is when he made them laugh. And every tick mark here is when he made them clap. They are so involved physically. They are physically reacting to what he is saying, which is actually fantastic, because then you know you have the audience like in your hand. So he kicks off what could be with this is a day I have been looking forward to for 2.5 years. So he's launching a product that he's known about already for a couple years. So this is not a new product to him. But look at this. He does this other thing. He marvels. He marvels at his own product. He marvels himself more than the audience laughs or claps. So he's like, isn't it awesome? Isn't this beautiful? And he's modeling for the audience what he wants them to feel. So he is actually doing a job of compelling them to feel a certain way. So he kicks off with what could be, with every once in a while, a revolutionary product comes along that changes everything. So he starts to kick in and talk about his new product. Now at the beginning of it, he actually keeps the phone off. You'll see that the line is pretty white up until this point. So he goes off between, here's this new phone, and here's the sucky competitors, and here's this new phone, and here's the sucky competitors. And then, right about here, he has a star moment, and that's something we'll always remember. What he does, he turns the phone on. The audience sees scrolling for the first time. You can hear the oxygen suck down the room. They gasped. You can actually hear it. So he creates a moment that they'll always remember. So if we move along this model, you can see the blue where the external speakers are going, and then over towards the bottom right, the line breaks. That's because his clicker broke. So what does he do? He wants to keep this heightened sense of excitement. He tells a personal story right there where the technology didn't work. So here's the master communicator, and he turns to story to keep the audience involved. So the top right, he ends with the new bliss. He leaves them with a promise that Apple will continue to build revolutionary new products. And he says, there's an old Wayne Gretzky quote that I love. I skate to where the puck is going to be, not to where it's been. We've always tried to do that at Apple, and from the very, very beginning, we always will. So he ends with the new bliss. So let's look at Mr. King. He was an amazing visionary. He's a clergyman who spent his life working hard for equality. And this is the shape of the I Have a Dream speech. You can see he starts with what is, moves back and forth between what is and what could be, and ends with a very poetic new bliss, which is the famous part that we all know. So I want to spread it out a little bit here, stretch it for you. And what I'm doing here is I've put the actual transcript there along with the text. I know you can't read it, but at the end of every line break, I broke the line there because he took a breath and he paused. Now he was a Southern Baptist preacher. Most people hadn't heard that, so he had a real cadence and a rhythm that was really new for the people there. So I want to cover up these lines of text with a bar, because I want to use this bar as the information device here. So let's walk through how he actually spoke to people. The blue bars here are going to be when he used the actual rhetorical device of repetition. So he was repeating himself. He was using the same words and phrases so people could remember and recall them. Well, then he also used a lot of metaphors and visual words. This was a way to take really complicated ideas and make them memorable.